Hi, good morning to all. I see Manojan, Chairperson of Alappuzha branch of SARCF ICE. On behalf of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICE welcome all the participants in today's cast on From Success to Unsuccessful. I also welcome to CA Dr. Anuj Goyal, Chairman, Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICE, and CA Priya Kumar, Vice Chairperson, Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICE. Today's resource person CA Nakul Arora and even enablers of the Alappuzha branch of CRC of the ICE and Dr. Ambedkar Mishra, other present over here. First of all, let me read a brief introduction of today's speaker. CA Nakul Arora is a highly experienced and accomplished chartered accountant who has established himself as a leading figure in the field of finance and professional development, with a solid foundation in accounting, auditing, taxation, and financial management. Nakul has not only delivered over 600 technical sessions, but also conducted more than 350 sessions on soft skills such as communication and leadership. As the founder and managing partner of a successful firm of chartered accountants, C. Nakul has showcased his exceptional leadership skills by spreading various IC conferences and debate groups. His speaking experience at prestigious events and with renowned organizations like Barco, Hilton Group, and Saxo Bank further solidifies his reputation as a dynamic and impactful individual in the industry. Whether it's about financial wellness, wealth management, or compliance with technical and professional standards, C. Nakul Arora's expertise and passion for excellence shine through in every aspect of his work. So thank you for joining today with us to take the session. So warm welcome to Nakul sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And now I would like to introduce our Vice Chairperson of PSCIC, CS Priya Kumar. CS Priya Kumar, as General Council Member 2020-25 of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. She had earlier served as a Central Council Member in 2016-19 and in the South Indian Regional Council in 2012-15. She is currently the chairperson of the Sustainability Reporting Standards Board, ICA, and also the vice chairperson of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICA, and Corporate Laws and Corporate Governance Committee, ICA, and members of various non-standing committees of ICA. Madam is not adjoined. Warm welcome to Madam. And I would like to introduce the chairman of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICA. Yeah, Dr. Anuj Goyal.
Sir, as and when he will join, you just introduce. Yeah. Right now, you hand over the session to speaker.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so I would like to welcome to start the session. Warm welcome to CA Nakul sir. Hand over to CA Nakul sir to start the session. Sir, please.
Sure, I'm really eternally grateful for that introduction, CA Manoj Narayanji, and thank you to all the event enablers. It's my honest pleasure to show my regards towards the chairperson of the PSCICI, CA Dr. Anuj Goyal, the vice chairperson, CA Priya Kumar, and of course, our very hardworking secretary, Dr. Sambit Mishra ji. I welcome you all to a very unique skill that we are going to learn today. We've learned many skills in this trilogy. We've learned different things about how to be successful and how to actually keep your peace of mind. But there were many people who actually tag themselves as successful. But are they really successful? Honestly speaking, my first concern is that people understand that there is a difference between success and successful. To explain that difference, I'll share a story from my childhood. So I am a black belt in karate. So when I was learning karate, and I think it was my maybe 10th day, 12th day, because I come from a farmer's background. We're a little, because from the village background, we're a little stronger than the city kids. So in a city school, it was easy for me to win the entire tournament when it was the first time. But my karate instructor held me from my neck and he said that, Nakul, it's very easy to become the best, but the toughest thing in the world is to be the best. Now, this is a very important instruction when it comes to, especially for people who have advanced degrees. Degrees like architecture, MBBS, chartered accountancy, company secretaries. These are called advanced degrees. And have you seen people who are extremely arrogant, extremely clueless of what they're talking about, but they have advanced degrees? Honestly, it is not as easy as anything else, but if we compare to people like who are legendary chartered accountants, who have been successful for 70 years and is still one of the most legendary direct tax speakers. I think you all know whom am I talking about. Is it easy? If we compare it with them, then compare a newly qualified chartered accountant. I think qualifying chartered accountancy will look easy in this balance. So there is a twofold approach to success to successful. One approach is which is discussed worldwide these days, which is obviously we'll talk about it, mental health, peace of mind, work-life balance. But do we understand the toughest issue that we forget to address is how to hold the position? Not the best position, but how to hold the position. Because we're Indians, we enjoy cricket a lot. Do you ever think about that? How many times has different countries become the best? They've become world champions. But who is the best and who stays the best? I think we all know about it. They have consistency and still they enjoy in victory and defeat. Now let us learn about these things in a little detail. And today I promise all the audience to take them on a journey from success to being truly successful. So if I introduce this to you, I will be referencing a lot of reads that I've done throughout the past few years. And I might be referring to certain videos. I might show you a video or two because that is, I think, how it will make more sense to you. So firstly, let's begin. So we will explore how traditional definitions of success can sometimes fall short, how to identify and pursue what truly makes us successful. And of course, sometimes we fall short on how to identify and pursue what makes us feel truly successful. Note it down somewhere, make a small poster and put it on your desk that what makes us feel. Your feelings are important. How you feel is important. What truly makes us feel successful, and we'll also talk about practical strategies to make this journey. How will you make this journey? What's a practical strategy of doing that? So the traditional view on success, first let's define success for each other. Traditionally, it is defined by achieving milestones, right? Like I told you, you became a chartered accountant, you're a successful person. You earn this much of money, you're successful. You made a house, you're successful. Or in our parents' definitions, if you have kids by 25, you're successful. Moving on, let's talk about landing a high-paying job, promotions, a lot of wealth. These have all been heard a lot of times. These are also driven by external validation. All of these things are actually driven by external validation. For example, your degree is not earned by you in totality. It is discovered by factors that what kind of a paper was there when you prepared well, who was your invigilator, how the checking was done, how was ICI's mood at that time, and did you qualify or not? Now, the problem is we are giving too much of issue. Anything if you want to see, landing a high-paying job. Sir, the same job has been seen delivered to two different people on different pay scales. It's a very common thing these days now. And also the promotions, they depend on a lot of factors more than your hard work, your luck, being at the right place at the right time. So we are more concerned of the external factors than internally. Like a lot of wealth also depends on how people value your service. Like, for example, on the screen, I see Manoj ji and I see myself. Maybe a client is ready to pay me better than Manoj ji, but Manoj ji is a more experienced and a better chartered accountant. But the value of the service is better in my case for a client. And he does not know why. He does not know why. Maybe I'm good with relations. Maybe I have a drink or two with him every now and then. But this is driven by external factors, which should be not very important. So I'll just share a story about a person who has spent his entire life climbing the corporate ladder. So now remember, this is a story which is inspired by real events. So if one of you, if the person whom I'm talking about hearing it, I've tried to make as much as, what do you say, adjustments to the story as possible. So he was incredibly successful. He is incredibly successful by every viewpoint you can see. He has a corner office. He has a hefty salary. His title is a command of respect. That means he leads the entire domain of the company. And yet, when he talked to me once, he confessed that he feels very empty. And people who know a lot of things around people, they know who these people are. And you know this person. Why? This person is with everybody. Everybody knows one or two other people who are very successful and then say, we feel empty. And then when what we talk about, like me and Manoj, if we're sitting over a drink together, we'll be talking, these successful people, they make money and then they demotivate people like us. But the reality is, sir, they're actually feeling empty. His success, defined by the convention terms, has not brought him the sense of fulfillment he craved. And how many of us know someone like this? We all know. We all know this person. Now, let me ask a question. Then, when I asked him that, what is the problem? Brother, why are you not feeling happy? You should be very happy. You have everything in the world. He said, I'm 48. And when it was the time to get married, I chose I want to work harder. And when I actually got married, I got married to someone I was not happy with because he was very old. When he got married and not old, and I'm not making stereotypes, this is his personal feeling. So it can be different for different people. And then he said that I have everything, but I have nobody to share it with. I'm not saying being single and not having kids can make you unfulfilled, but not perceiving your life correctly can actually make you unfulfilled. And what I advised him, I will share it right now so you understand how success to successful works. I told him that, what do you have today? He says, I have my career. I said, what do you want to do? He said, I want to deliver. I want to have a family. I said, now make youngsters who cannot afford education your family. Align your life with something which gives you meaning. And you personally will never ever feel unfulfilled. Take up a mission, take up something. Like when he sleeps in the evening now, he knows that I've given the school fees for at least 20-25 children now. He sponsors 25 educations. He's sponsoring higher education for 2 kids. And he never feels unfulfilled now. He said, okay, I go to them and they see me like, I wanted to be a father, but they've made me somebody who's like an angel to them. It's okay. You have to see the entire money, the entire success was not giving him peace. But what gave him peace? Just helping out a few people. And then people say charity is something which rich people do. Well, rich people need more reasons to be fulfilled because they have attained a lot and they still feel that nothing is giving them satisfaction. Honestly, the traditional markers of success are achievements to be proud of. You should be proud of the traditional success as well. Got a degree, be happy. A good job, you should be happy about. But never overlook the internal aspect, how they make you feel. Because if your internals are happy, then you'll feel happy about these things as well. So achieving success involves meeting goals set by who sets our goals? The others do. The society does, the employer might do it, or even let's call it family, because family is somebody who thinks of you first before the others. But honestly, let's just be honest, working people are not very well loved. Be it a man or a woman, when you're working and you're providing for the families, they're not caring about you, but where you reach is more important. So being successful, on the other hand, is about living in alignment with your values and passions. So when you join chartered accountancy, most of you are chartered accountants. So when you join chartered accountancy, I'm pretty sure none of you was thinking that I will be ever compromising on my ethics. They loved their lifestyle. They loved their ethical values. And when I joined my articleship, maybe the day a chartered accountant, when he's a student, joins his articleship, he is the most ethical at that point in life. Because he is thinking of the law as it is. He's only thinking of the doctrine of literal meaning. He has forgotten all the other doctrines of constructive meaning and everything. Literal meaning. Ethics, he's thinking them literally. But what happens? Over the period of time, he or she realizes that yes, certain ethics are compromised on a daily basis. Right? Remember that it is about the inner contentment and the impact you create. So let me just share a story. I mean, many of you would have heard. If you've not, you can Google it today. There's a story of Oprah Winfrey. And honestly, in United States, she is a trend. That person is a trend. Oprah Winfrey, she was a talk show host, and that is why they always, in US, it is very popular. What is Oprah's favorite? So whosoever from your homeland has migrated to the US, ask them about Oprah, and they are very concerned about what is her favorite thing. But when was she deeply fulfilled? If you see her podcast later on in her life, she said when she used her platform for impactful storytelling and philanthropy. She transitioned from being successful in the eyes of others to truly feeling successful within. Let me be very clear. Many people in the session, younger you are, the more common it will be. I think we have one person who will tell you a lot. Just join the session. See, Anuj Goyalji, the honorable chairman of the board, is in between us. And I think he can really talk about how things more than money and positions can make you feel successful. He himself is a philanthropist. And Anuji, when you give your welcome session, I just request you that you talk about how fulfilled you felt when you made that Gaushala, when you made that, when you helped a lot of cows to get a home for themselves. I'll hand over the session to CM Manoj Narayanapalji to please introduce our chairman and hand over the session to him for his welcome remarks. Thank you, sir.
CM Manoj, please introduce.
Manojji, you're mute. Manoj sir, mute.
Sorry. Warm welcome to Anuj Goyalji. Let me read out a small discussion about him. And the CA Dr. Anuj Goyal, a Central Council member 2020-25 of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He's a qualified FCA, FCS, FCMA, LLB, PhD, DISA, and DR. Besides that, he is a 6th-time Central Council member, ICAC 2004, Chairman of Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICE, Chairman of Ethical Standards Board, ICE, Convener Publication and CDS Directorate, ICE, Vice Chairman of Sustainability Reporting Standards Board, Chairman of Taxation Audits Quality Review Board, and members of the committees of ICE. Actually, Anuj Goyalji is a dynamic Central Council member who always with the prime objective to serve the members of ICE at large and always stands and for the members of ICE. He had earlier served as the chairman of the CARC of ICE and in other positions of CARC of ICE and chairman in the Ghaziabad branch of CARC of ICE before the ICE Council. Sir, warm welcome to you this session. Kindly have a word with all the participants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, CA Manoj Narayana, sir, the chairperson of very prominent Alappuzha branch, and all other event enablers. And of course, we are having our very prominent resource person, popularly known as Yuva Turk, CA Nakul Arora ji, and Dr. Sambit Kumar Misra, sir, our dynamic and dedicated and devoted secretary of a Professional Skill Enrichment Committee. And we are having thousands of delegates live with us from each and every part of the world. I welcome all of you on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and as chairman of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee of ICI. For the first time in the history of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, this Professional Skills Enrichment Committee has come into existence with an object that how we can further enrich the skills of the best of the accounting professionals of the world, the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And we are having, of course, Sripriya ma'am, vice chairperson, and we are trying our level best to see that how we can really do something very concrete for all our honorable members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India in the best possible manner. And we tried our level best to see that how we can try to have the views of each and every chartered accountant. We had survey of in which more than 5,000 chartered accountants participated. Then we had the interactive meeting with them. Then we had the meeting with each and every leader of the profession from India, outside India. And then we have had the help of a very, very prominent expert. And then we identified the areas in which the skill enrichment is required, and how we are supposed to reach to the members in this regard. And friends, you will be very, very happy to know that in this very, very short span of time of 2-3 months, on 26th of June, we organized 102 physical programs on the International MSME Day. And on 15th of July, on International Youth Skill Day, we organized another 100 plus physical programs. And you must be very well aware that continuously we are having the best of the BCMs, webinars, PSCC 100, and from last week we have already started, from this week itself, from Wednesday, we have started daily yoga program, in which we are tied up with the Bharatiya Yoga Sansthan, and we are having the reach of the presence of more than 1,000 chartered accountants, more than 2,000 chartered accountants every day in beginning itself. And you are very well aware that this skill is also very, very important. How we can keep our body and soul healthy. I think that is very, very important. And Nakul Arora ji, who is a very, very prominent and successful chartered accountant and represents the youth of this country. And youth is power. And we are very well aware that this is the profession of the youngsters. 20,500 youngsters have qualified CA in this attempt itself. And 80% of the chartered accountants are practically young chartered accountants. And when you are having the youngsters in any profession, you can very well understand how dynamic that profession will be and how innovative that profession will be. And I'm quite confident that with the help and support of our honorable youngsters, this profession can certainly contribute for the Prime Minister Modi's vision of Viksit Bharat. We are going to the third largest accounting body, third largest economy of the world very soon. And I'm quite hopeful that very soon we will again be the largest economy of the world. And 67% GDP of the world was contributed by India not 10,000 years ago. It is only 500, 600, 700 years ago. So it was in true sense Sone ki chidiya, and we are quite confident that very soon we will again attain the objective of Param Vaibhav, and we will again be the Vishwa Guru with the help and support of the best of the accounting professionals of the world. And from success to successful, I think I don't know ultimately Nakulji what he is going to cover, but whatever is coming to my mind, that success can't be measured only in terms of money, because I think n number of individuals may be having the money, but when you will be having money with the help and support of Saraswati, I think that blessing of Lakshmi, when you will be having, then you will be successful. When you will be successful by using the knowledge you have gained as a chartered accountant, I think you are successful. And when others, when you can really contribute for the upliftment of the society, of the trade and industry, then you are successful. When you are the role model for others, when you are making the life of others meaningful, I think you are successful. And you know, besides the materialistic things, I am Kulji was telling. Of course, I was a member of all the 3 institutes at the age of 22. I did my law also, I did my doctorate also. I was the topper of the university in BCom and MCom. I topped the state board in 10th and 12th, but that is not the success. Ultimately, when you have to be successful, you have to see that what you have done for your alma mater, for your Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, what you have done for the mother nature, what you have done ultimately to the entire world. And then if you have done something in that direction, then in true sense you are successful. We are having our 2-3 education institutions. We are having law colleges, management technology colleges. We are having our Gausala, indigenous Gau Matas are there. Around 60-70 Gau Matas are there. We are having organic farming, and whatever money you will be generating, how through that that money can be used for the society, for the well-being of others, and that will be giving you that satisfaction ultimately, which will be making you the successful. I don't know Nakulji, what Nakulji will be covering, how one can be successful, the journey from success to successful. What is he covering? But the peace you do get, the contentment you do get after involving yourself in the service to others, service to the mother nature. I think something really great. And our members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India are doing wonders in that direction in a great way. I'm really grateful to Manoj ji and his entire team. I'm really grateful to Dr. Sambit Kumar Misra ji, who is with us from 2 devices. And I'm really grateful to CA Nakul Arora ji for being very active. He has contributed in a great way for this Professional Skills Enrichment Committee in designing the course. He has authored a number of books also for the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, and he has identified a lot of resource persons also for the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee. So our PSEC is in the right hand, and how we can have the journey from success to successful. I think one of the most prominent resource person is C. Nakul Arora ji. I will request all of you to put your hands together in welcoming C. Nakul Arora ji once again. And I will not be taking up further time, as we are very eager to hear Nakul Arora sir. I once again welcome all our honorable delegates from each and every part of the world. Please join our yoga session daily 7 a.m. The Zoom link will be hosted on in the chat box also. The YouTube link will be hosted in the link itself, in the chat box itself, and you will be seeing that it is only and only for the members of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, how they are supposed to have can be physically and mentally fit. I think we are moving into that direction, and that is also professional skills enrichment. So from Monday to Friday we are having this, and Saturday, Sunday we are leaving to the disposal of the members, that how they can do it at their own. So once again, I welcome all of you on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants and on behalf of the Professional Skills Enrichment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Anil Goyal ji, for your wonderful words. I think we all are enlightened with your words. Thank you very much. And I hand over to Nakul ji for continuing the session.
Thank you very much. I think we are very blessed to hear the leaders of the profession themselves. Now, when I was talking about, fulfilling yourself, feeling fulfilled, we had to understand one thing was very important, that I was talking a lot about social service. So by the time, because I was because we were joined by the chairman, I got some time to clarify then I'm not talking about social service. I'm not talking about giving back to the society. Why? Because everybody has different things that make them feel successful. I have talked about giving back to the society because most of us in this meeting are chartered accountants. When does a person think about giving back to the society? That is an important point. Look, first satisfaction is that I have food to eat. If you do not have food to eat, trust me, nothing will make you feel successful. Once your food is done, second, you think about the well-being of your family. If there is no well-being to your family, there is nothing in the world that is giving you satisfaction. Honestly, people who talk a lot about social service and their family themselves is craving for a little bit of maybe even basic necessities. That means they're just fooling themselves, not the world. They're not satisfied. They're running away from something. I have always told this to especially the people who think about leaving the chartered accountancy course midway. I said, you are allowed to do anything in the world, but remember, you should not be running away from the course, but running towards something, always. So how I justify this is, firstly, do not do anything because the others are feeling successful because of that. Why? I'll tell you the reason. Maybe somebody in this world has a very large family and very less hands to earn. For that person, feeding 10 mouths by 2 incomes is a success in itself. He feels successful with that because that is enough. And that is why the generations before us in this country were very focused and keen on what? On their family's growth, on their personal growth. However, when you have enough that you have made these things adjusted, when a certain amount of money is achieved, your family, your friends, and your peers and dears all are covered. But what is left after that? Your personal feeling. Now I'll tell you what makes me feel good. How I feel that, okay, this is, going good, that the life is being lived in the right way. Yes, of course, first thing is earning enough for providing for myself. Making a house was a good satisfactory feeling. Buying the first car was, satisfactory. But today, we all know as chartered accountants, this is a busy time. We are on a very busy day, but still delivering a session on this day. What do you think that it involves? It is actually a very huge responsibility on the shoulders that when you read a lot, when you deliberate a lot, you are habitual to receiving messages on a daily basis. You're habitual to receiving emails, LinkedIn messages on a daily basis. That we attended this session, it was transforming. What happens when you send that message? Honestly, there are two things. Some people will take a screenshot and post it for more views and more audience. Well, for me, when I get that message, I feel, okay, I'm doing well. I need to read more and deliver more. So with my work, which provides for my family, with the entire, outlook that I've created, my professional respect that I command from my clients and obviously the society. After that, from my fellow professionals, my seniors, people who have qualified, at least I have given deliberations to people qualified 40 years before me, So what happens when they appreciate you? You feel that you're doing something. I feel that I'm doing something right by making a difference to a life who has worked for more years than I've existed. Some people in this audience as well might be who qualified before my birth. So that means you came to the world after they started working and you're still making a difference. This is a point of satisfaction for me. The most important reason why this session has to be taken once and thought about for a long time, because it's not easy to identify what gives you pleasure. You have to sit with yourself. You have to, give yourself time. What is meditation? Freeing yourself of thoughts. Because I told you, right now your definition of success is driven by society, family, peers, dears, everybody. But what gives you satisfaction is driven by you. And trust me, just think about something right now. I'll ask you a question. What is the most tastiest flavor that you have tasted in the last few years? or what is the best dish in the world? Most of you might be thinking about consistency. Most of you might be thinking about what the world thinks. Very less people quickly conclude that this is what I like. When you think about who is the best leader, who has been the best prime minister of the country, you think about prime ministers who were there when you were not even born. Why? Because we are too concerned with the social opinion. We're too concerned of our family's opinion. We are very less motivated by what we feel. That is why we have wars. That is why we have resistance between communities, between zones, between states. Why? Because we are more motivated by others. Now, maybe sitting with a person from an alien state, from a state which is not in good relations with my country, but I sit with him in a third ground, on a neutral ground, I feel good with him. We are less concerned with how we feel with him. We're more concerned with what political relations are there above. And this is the level. So please remember, sit with yourself and clear your mind and then think about what gives you pleasure. Being vegan and vegetarian are the new ways people try to give them guilty pleasures. But the reality is, if you are satisfied by eating good food, you'll only be satisfied by food. You cannot be satisfied by just because society thinks this way. If you start feeling that way, it's the best thing to do. Moving on, let's look at next part. Now let's understand the components of success from the point of view of being successful. Right? There are a lot of components in success. These are the components from the point of view of true success, from the true successful feeling. Right? So, like we talked about Oprah Winfrey, when we talk about components of true success, we firstly talk about personal fulfillment and happiness. True success starts with knowing what makes you feel happy and fulfilled. And trust me, like I told you, it will take time. You have to sit with yourself. You have to be alone. You have to spend some time in isolation to understand what makes you feel happy. Unfortunately, people who have kids, remember, what makes you happy is what makes your child smile. You have forgotten who you are, what you feel nice. I mean, many people who hated spicy food are eating spicy food because their child likes it so. And they don't want to spend too much on the food, right? Because in the restaurants, food is expensive. So when the child says that get me something very spicy, the father says, okay, get him spicy. Maybe he has to eat a lot of curd with it. He has to drink water with every bite. But he's doing it because that is what makes his child happy. Ultimately, it involves pursuing passions and interests that bring you joy, not just following the path laid out by others. But again, caution. On every time you are driving now, I'm giving you cautions like driving on a mountain road. Because I have a problem. In recent past, in the last 10, 15 years, or maybe the years after when I was in school, my last years in school and the years after that, so the last 15, 20 years, they have been of a very strange dynamic. A movie comes in, a book comes in, people start following paths blindly. So there was a movie which came in. I won't name the movie for any avoiding any legal conflict. But there came a movie after which all the engineers stopped going to college and took a photo camera and started taking pictures of the diya on Diwali. That's it. Taking pictures of random people on Holi and posting it. They became photographers because a movie said this gives them satisfaction. So their passion was also inspired by a movie. Now, having a good picture in your phone or your camera will make you feel nice. It does not mean that is your passion. In the lockdowns, the COVID lockdowns, everybody was a cook. Everybody's passion was cooking. So that time cooking was necessity. It does not make it your passion. So there was a friend who's no more now, but one day she decided to leave her high-paying job to become an artist. And this is very close to my heart because we lost that friend and that was one of my friends from school. So she left the job to become an artist. It was risky financially, but she thought she had a lot of pleasure, a lot of satisfaction. But then something happened and nobody knows what happened to her and she's no more. But the reality is, we've never seen her happy as much as we saw in those 2 years. Along with that, she had to be cautious that financials have to also tally. The balance sheet has to go debit is equal to credit. Remember, you chartered accountants, we do not make financial glitches. Many people who are chartered accountants or who are engineers, who are doctors, choose to be artists. But is it a smart move or not will be decided by have you covered. Now for today, I give you an exercise right now. Write down things that you cannot compromise on. So I'll write and people who are listening worldwide can start making notes. The first thing I cannot compromise on is the 3 people in my family I have to feed. All right, my father, my brother, and my wife. These 3 people first, and any more family that we make. This is the first thing. If they are well fed, they have what they need, they have what they want. Because for me, if they don't have what they want, my kids are somebody I will teach that you should know what you want and not. But these people I'm not going to teach. My father, I'm not teaching what he wants. Whatever he wants, he needs it, and I have to get it. So until they are satisfied, this is a no compromise issue. Zero tolerance policies. Make these zero tolerance policies. Out of this box, make your list of passions. Because this box has to be fulfilled. Why? Because the day you start following your passion and this box starts getting shaken up, unfortunately, the satisfaction will go away. So second thing is I need basic necessities, and I will write down my basic necessities are having a sedan car. I cannot go below that because that is my sense of satisfaction. Because today that is what it is. I need the house that I live in. I'm not selling off my house. I'm not putting that on rent. I need the entire property because that's how I'm used to. And I need my office to at least do a growth of 1.5x every year, which it has been doing from the first year it started. So I'll tell you, most of the chartered accounts, I run a CA firm. Most of us understand how difficult it can be. So when we started, in the second year, I had a growth of 3x. That means if I had a turnover of 1, I had a turnover of 4 in the second year. So imagine how dissatisfied I was at year 3 because the growth was not that much. Then I realized that now the saturation will start coming. But then I had to put a target that I'm not accepting anything below 1.5x. That means at least half of what we achieved last year, we have to do with the help of more staff, with the help of more partners, whatever. So we left the criteria of profit. Profit has to just grow. Any amount will do. The turnover has to go 1.5x. What? That is giving me satisfaction now. Social work might not be giving me satisfaction because right now I have to create something. So this is the way we have to start, making our brains. So 2 is my basic necessities. What is 3? I want to travel. I do not go without traveling. So my traveling should not be compromised. That means if I want to have to, if my work does not allow me travel, I'll do it personally. Right now, Anujji, people like Manojji and Sambitji, they keep on calling me here and there. So I travel enough that my satisfaction is done. So when I go to, let's say, for example, I go to the branch of Manojji, he'll make me travel 1 or 2 places around him and I'm okay because I don't want to travel personally then. So similarly, traveling is the third thing. Out of this box, I can choose my passion. Now just imagine, I wanted to be, I'll tell you what I wanted to be when I was young. I wanted to be an actor, very young. Then I saw my face in the mirror. We decided otherwise. Then secondly, I wanted to, when I started talking, I wanted to be a motivational speaker. Then I heard a few motivational speakers and decided otherwise. But I will do speaking to the extent it does not affect my practice. I will deliver sessions only to the extent and it gives me satisfaction giving, let's say 10-15 sessions in the less busy months and 5 to 6 sessions in the busy months. That is satisfying. It is not important to make a career out of everything. That is the thing which we need to catch. And trust me, with ICAI, we might be a little, okay, whatever comes is a good thing. Whatever does not come is a good thing. With external parties, we can charge high as well. But even then, we have to think that our practice is prime. Because that gives me the highest sense of satisfaction when that is when I started practicing. I was speaking before I started practicing. After practice, I realized that I talk to an audience. Like right now, I'm talking to a webinar. I don't know how many of you are listening and how many will apply this. But when I'm on my seat in my office, the advice that I've written as consultation will affect this business, good way or bad way. This is going far. This will impact. And that was satisfaction for me. So what is the reality is, when you've written these things, remember your satisfaction points will change. After every few days or months, it can change. Events can change it. I completed chartered accountancy just because my mother wanted me to be one. And my mother was no more when I qualified. She passed away 6 months before I became a CA. So did I not be happy with my qualification? No, I had to. I had to find other reasons. I had to find other sources of inspiration. This is how life is lived. So let's take an example of Elon Musk. He is the best example of finding new ways to satisfy himself. He's financially successful. Nobody will deny that. I mean, he has all the money in the world. His drives comes from the desire to advance human capabilities. He is living on another level right now. His exploration of space, he works a lot for renewable energy and the colonization of Mars, things like that, because he wants to advance human capabilities. He's working for sustainability. He's working for continuity of the human race. He talks about making too many kids. You might disagree with him, but you cannot deny that he is the person who is living and being inspired by his will. But do you know one thing? His prime success came from Tesla, and he's still working for that. So people have to understand, people can follow their passions after and also along with their prime job. What people do is leave your prime job and then look for satisfaction. It is never going to come. I promise you. Because ultimately you'll be out of food, you'll be out of fixed deposits, you'll be out of your market investments. You're done. You're already unsatisfied. Only in movies you see that suddenly a person comes in, leaves the job, and he's hungry, and suddenly after a song he's successful. In real life, if you think being an artist will make you satisfied, I just give you one advice, and everybody, just take a flight to Mumbai, go to Marine Drive at 11:30 in the night and see the street artists, talk to one or two of them. I'll tell you at least 500 people there will be good performers, will be good artists, good enough to perform and attain a few money, but still having no chance of any immediate success. Maybe they'll be successful later, right? True success often includes giving back to society because you've already attained the basics. We all have not. I have not personally. Maybe many of you on the screen have not. But people who worked hard with their jobs, they have attained that. That is why they are doing everything. Now I give you the most hardest to accept fact. Call it making money, call it making a family, call it social work. We all are trying to make our own legacy. Believe it or not, now sit with yourself after this webinar and ask yourself, your biggest fear is oblivion. Even when we know we are not going to live here forever, we all are scared of the time that this world will be without us. Because for us, this world begins from us. Whatever this world is because we see it, we perceive it. And the fulfillment is from impacting others, that the impact should be profounding and lasting. So maybe my kids will take my name or not. Maybe we have, my family will continue or not. We've heard these things in your house. I don't know which part of the country you're from, but these things we have heard. Grandparents talking about give us a grandchild, so we see that our legacy has gone forward. We giving our names to the firm. We're trying to make sure all people in the firm are passionate about success. We having our image in the back of our office as founders, as the maybe managing partners, whatever. Remember, when founders are done, people have a list. This was the person who was the chairperson then. Even in government offices, that is true. And whosoever's father or grandfather has been a government officer and he's old now, trust me, if he was a banker, he would have taken you to the branch and shown you, see, that's my name, I was here. So they are trying to preserve the peak time, and even we are doing that. And it's no harm in accepting the reality. Because life is easier after we accept the truth. Being good is only because we want to be perceived good. And it's okay. That's fine. It's no harm in it. And of course, there has to be a balance. Now we'll see balance between what? Balance between your personal life and professional life. So how is this balance and why is it so crucial? Look, no amount of success can compensate the neglected personal life. No amount of success can compensate neglected personal life. Why? Well, I'll just share a very simple example with you. I know most of you would have because the movie was a success. How many of you saw Animal? I'm sure most of you did, the movie. And
Yes.
in Animal, they say that, okay, this guy's father, I have not seen the movie personally. I've just heard a lot of times about this movie because my family watched it and then they kept on talking about the movie. So I know the movie from that reference. So, yes, so the father is neglecting his personal life and the child loses his complete identity and he's a mass killer. Maybe he's a psychopath or something like that. I just thought that maybe he was a professional success in that movie, but then in real life as well, there are many people who have been very successful, but they have no relations with their family, no real connections with anybody outside their home. And how come they are surviving? How come they are surviving is a big question mark. Let me tell you the strategy for transition. This one I will have to ask you to write down. This is just a 4-step strategy, 4 simple steps, and you'll have a strategy for transitioning from success to successful. These are the 4 steps on your screen. Write them down or write them or make notes as your choice. I always believe writing gives you more sense of remembrance of how the session was going because screenshots will be okay. That's I created the screenshot, so I remember what I was feeling when I was writing this. But when you write this down, you remember how you were feeling with the session when you were writing it.
Sure.
First, set new goals. Redefine what success means to you. Okay, let me tell you, set goals that align with your passions, values, rather than social expectation, rather than societal expectations. What does this redefinition means? Okay, calm down and leave every professional stress in 5 minutes. Let's think about this. Today, when we came home, because we are chartered accountants, I'm talking about the ones in practice, and let's talk about the ones in job and anyway, and the non-qual and the people who have to qualify. By November, all the practicing chartered accountants have a target that this year we have to achieve X amount of fees in audit. By November, all the transfer pricing audits and everything will be done. This is the fees we expect. The job, most appraisals and the conversations are done in November and the appraisals are done in the following month, or maybe the promotions are done. People with job are thinking of promotion and the promotion and the money that they're going to make. And the students are thinking about passing their November exams. This is what society expects from you. Let me tell you what I wrote on a piece. I actually make this diagram. I actually write, sorry, this is not the one. This is the paper. And trust me, it's a huge document. I write it every few days that what I want to do by the next month, what I want to do by November. And this is what my staff in my office does too. So it's really funny and it's true. So what happened is my team was sitting and talking about of course, the September audits. We were thinking that how to plan and what clients to bring in first and how to, target the auditing. I thought that is what the meeting is going to be about. You know what my staff was talking about? They were saying, okay, I'm just thinking about where will we be on the 2nd of October? Because my office leaves for a trip on the evening of 30th or the morning of 1st of October. So office trip is more exciting for them. And similarly, my goals are very simple. I have to finish up a few books that I've bought. So I read a lot. So I said, no matter I'll be doing it in the airplane, no matter I'll be doing it while I go home, no matter I'll do it in the morning, but I'll finish up these two books because I've read a very less in the last 2 years since the practice was getting a little tougher. So reading was being compromised. I will read these two books because that is what's going to give me satisfaction. The office targets are good, but they are managed so well by us throughout the year that we forget to write our personal goals. So have your office goals. My office goals are still there. The societal pressure goals are written and remembered. You write what you want to do by the next 2 months. What will give you happiness? So one thing which I did, you see hair on my head, they're transplanted. So in 2021, I was speaking, and you can see my videos from the COVID time webinars are there on ICI portal. You see, I don't have a lot of hairline. And I was always very keen about, okay, you should have optional procedures. No, yes, money is being spent and that. And suddenly one day I went to a consultant and said, I want to get a transplant today. They said, no, today it cannot be done. Then okay, obviously she's a doctor. She told me that there are some tests and something which will be run. I told this to nobody, not even my father. Nobody knew that I'm going for a transplant. On the first day of the surgery, I had to call somebody because they told me that you cannot go home by yourself because your head is in surgery and you are under anesthesia. So that is the first time somebody knew that I'm undergoing surgery. What was the reason? I know that was a stupid thing to do, to not tell anybody about having a surgery. But then, why did I do that? I don't know how will the world feel about this, but I wanted to see hair on my head again. I lost hair because of my lifestyle, because of my journey. I should not have to live like this because this is how the society says. You don't make changes. You should look like you are. You should not think of so. Not thinking of a social opinion is a bloody social opinion. Why should I be concerned if having hair on my head, losing a few kilos is something which I do for looking good? It is fine. There's no problem. You can choose to live the way you do. And trust me, when I have a huge beard, some people say, oh, you should have a little, this is looking very shabby as a look. Someday I'll shave clean. Somebody will say, no, you look like a child when you shave clean. To hell with you, I'll do what I want to do with my face. Until the day I start feeling itchy, my hair keeps growing. The day I start feeling itchy, I shave it clean. To hell with anybody. I'm not doing it for anybody. And this attitude comes to me with my father. My father is similar. He's a farmer and he'll do what he wants to do. If somebody says sugar canes are not going to go high this year, he'll do it. He'll say, I'll do what I want to do. My son is earning enough. We'll do the food with that. I'll do my passion. So that is how you have to write your personal goals. And trust me, there's no alternative of writing. So when I bought a home, I took out a home loan, of course. I paid off extra amount every year. Why did I do it? There was no pressure on me. I'm young. I can actually, take the loan out for another 10 years, 12 years. That won't be a problem for me. What was going through my mind is that gives me satisfaction. That every year in the month of March, when the interest certificates come, when the interest certificate comes and the balance comes, they tell me that my loan is ending on this date. And every year I'm pulling that date closer. That is giving me happiness. That is giving me satisfaction. I don't care about how the world feels about it. So one thing after the other, first set up new goals for your transitioning. Now get ready for the second one. This is going to be tough and we'll try and cover this as closely as possible. I'll try to run alongside you. Okay. So the second thing is developing a growth mindset, having a mindset of consistent growth. What is a growth mindset now? Many people have the first issue that what is a growth mindset and how to apply a growth mindset. So let me just share a few things about it. Firstly, welcome learning. Write these points down about growth mindset. I think that I'm going to say what comes to my mind and as much as I can remember. Welcome learning. Never be scared to learn new things. And trust me, it is easier said than done. It is easy to say, never let anything, never stop learning, never stop your mind from accepting new learnings. But it's very difficult to do. Be open to new experiences, perspectives. I'll tell you an example. The example is, how many of you have you cannot answer me. I feel so difficult on webinars that when there are not people who can start answering or raise their hands. But let me just ask you the question to yourself, and you can answer it to yourself. That how many of you have experienced this? And I'm sure some of you are this person. I've gone to Europe with different groups of people, with different people, of course. My nature is that eat whatever is local to the area, because that will be fresh, that will be best prepared, and that will be the healthiest recipe. Right? So if you are in Europe, you eat their delicacies, whatever they make for themselves, because that will be the most fast running item and that cannot be stale. And when you go to the southern part of this country, there is a certain food that is preferred there, and then they say this does not taste like it tastes in our restaurants. So don't eat it in your restaurant. They're not serving you authentic. The authentic food is in the land of the food, and that is exactly what you have to understand. People are not open to new experiences, and then they say they love to travel. You don't love to travel, you just love to tell the world that you have traveled. Because traveling begins with, firstly, remember this, that people who love different foods will usually be the people who are talking to the locals a lot. Will be the people who will be involved in their culture most of the times. They get involved in that culture. They start being European, they start being Indonesians. They are localites to the UAE when they go there. How? They start speaking their words. They start, making family bonds there. You're my brother, you're my sister, you're my family, you're like this. We'll come again and everything. And they make relations for lifetime when they come back. Similarly, people who find their homeland food in different countries are the people who are not open to new experiences. I'm not asking you to start trying food of different lands. I'm asking you to open your mind to new experiences. Right? New things should be accepted. Don't make your mind static. And trust me, your brain gets static with time. Whenever, I don't know how many of you will know this. Next time, do this practice, and you'll understand that is your mind getting open to new experience or not. Every Saturday, make a practice to learn from your juniors or your child, whosoever you like. Everybody, I'm not saying one, everybody. So if you are practicing CA, ask your articles to teach you something you don't know. Don't they teach you that they have learned something new. You teach me something I don't know. And they will do it. They'll be very happy. And then ask your child to tell you something that you don't know, to explore their experiences. If they're in a dance class, go and learn a few moves from them. It's not going to harm you. They'll teach you easy things because they'll have an experience of teaching and you'll have an experience of learning. Plus, your mind will start, because everything comes with practice. So if you start taking this as a practical challenge, so maybe if you've not cooked in your life, or maybe if you cook well, just tell your wife that I will learn to cook something or the other on this Saturday. And why am I saying Saturday? Because whatever problems you'll face because of that learning, you can at least sleep around on the Sunday. So that is why Saturday. Or you can choose the day of your choice. I have no special advantage on Saturday. Trust me, I am not sponsored by Saturday Group. So simply just go back and make an experience. You want to do it once a month to begin with, do it once a month. But do it. Don't leave this experience. Tell people who are younger, less authoritative than you, tell them to teach you something, because it's hardest to learn from them because we have developed a static mindset. I was very keen on reading, but one of my staffs today is very good at geopolitics. So I've stopped reading geopolitics and I listen to him what he says and I accept. I do verify a few informations. I do tell him I correct him at a few points, but I have accepted his authority over geopolitics in our office. Why? Because geopolitics doesn't matter to me, but it has to be, I have to have a heart of gold that I have to stop reading and correcting everybody and I have to start listening. In terms, because I had managed a house earlier, without my mother was not there. I was the only guy and the controller of the house. When I got married, the most difficult thing was to let somebody else control my house, to let somebody else run the errands around it. And it took me approximately 1.5 years to leave my authority over the house, because I had to tell myself, no, even when you both are working, she still wants to take charge of a few things, let her. You have to get back. You have to step back from it. This is called opening your mind to a new perspective, new strategy. Then we talk about resilience and adaptability. What is resilience and adaptability? Firstly, resilience is something which is called something like, sorry, I'm getting Hindi words in my mind. I'm not getting the proper word for it. Resilience can be defined by the attitude of never giving up, like that, but you have to be continuous and you have to be focused, that you have to achieve something. You have to be very keen on learning and you have to be keen to complete something. And nobody understands resilience better than chartered accountants. Most of us have seen failures. I'm not saying all of us. Most of us have seen failures. Most of us have seen ups and downs. And the ones who don't see failures early in life, sometimes they've seen failures in career. Many of us, maybe we're not in this session, but many people see failures in the elections. Not just by voting, but by supporting. They've seen failures one way or the other, but still being continuous and still having the spirit to go ahead is called resilience. But the second most important is adaptability. Resilience is of no use if you're not adaptable. I'll tell you an example. You've seen CA students who've been giving exams for 7, 8 years, 9 years now.
Yes.
Just go to them and ask them what is wrong. They'll never tell you something is wrong with them. Never. Because if you say something is wrong with you, it would not take you 8 years to go ahead. 8 years is 16 attempts. 16 attempts are not taken to realize something is wrong. But I'll tell you, I'm not saying that they are wrong. I'm not saying that the examination process is penultimate and it cannot be resolved with. I'm not representing Board of Studies today. Even if I am, I would say nothing in this world is fair. What is fair? Fair is just a biblical, a bookish situation which actually does not exist. Something or the other will have to be compromised. So if I see 3 people or 4, I see 4 people on the screen, Manojji, me, Anujji, and Sambitji. We are sitting down, we're making an examination paper. Something is important for him, something is important for me, something for Anujji, something for Sambitji. Now there is a problem. Even if this is the most important thing for 4 of us, there are still 4 lakh chartered accountants outside. And even if there are 4 lakh chartered accountants, there are, I think, 10 lakh students, 10, 20 lakh students. And I think 1 or 2 lakh students give final examinations every year. So there is something called, I'm not going to use the word unfair, but there is something called a coincidental requirement. There is something called infrastructural or statistical issue. But that statistical issue has to be addressed by adjusting to it. You have to adapt. You cannot ask we 4 people to adapt for each and every one in that 1 lakh. Practically, the possibility is that 1 lakh of the ones who will adjust according to these 4 will be the ones who will get the degree this year. And yes, those 4 people can change, but what does not change is the policy of the institute, is the mechanism that does not change. So you have to adapt to a mechanism which is continuous. Moving on, let's just make this situation for chartered accountants in practice. In practice, I'm sorry, this is going to go one by one because this is how this can be illustrated. There's no better way to illustrate this. Many people say the clients are not paying me. This is one big problem. Then they say they're not paying enough, or some people say they don't pay on time. Some people say that there's a lot of competition, I am sorry, I don't understand. I don't think more than 1.5 lakh CAs will have COP. If in a country of 140 crore people and crores of ITRs filed every year, crores of, I think lakhs of audits. If we say 1.5 lakh is competition, then I'm sorry, business world is very scary. How much competition do they have? So let's talk about competition. Let's talk about all the problems. What is the best thing to do? Have you seen people who have made firms doing well in the last 10 years? In 10 years, the firms are doing well. What did they do different than what the people who are complaining after 20 years did not do? They adapted. They adapted to the market. And the choice is yours. I chose that I will only take up clients. This is just a hypothetical example inspired by real events. And I will only take up clients who can pay me a fee in advance. Why? Because I came from a family that I did not even have money enough to run the electricity. So if you cannot pay me, I cannot even click the computer because I cannot switch it on. I don't have money for electricity. You pay me and I can start the office. So this is called that this was the situation. So I said, I will only take up clients who pay advance. So I made a new lobby that people who wanted work done on time with authority, they can pay advance and get their work done. Second, then I had to compromise on a lot of things. I cannot sit inside this office or in this city or in this zone and get all the clients. I have to see the clients who adjust to my payment terms and go around the country and around the world and find them and work for them. First problem. Second issue, how to adapt. See, you have a problem here that there is a issue of non-management of good books of accounts. That audits are done, but people don't maintain their books of accounts well. And people don't value accountancy. How can you address this issue? So if you think your ethics will be compromised by signing the audits, you can always choose to complete. You work only for accounting. You work only for income tax, only cases. I would not sign a single piece of audit. Why? Because that is how my ethics will be compromised. So this is an adaptation that you've done. And what will you sign? Only the books that I can vouch for that they are good enough. Only people who will walk on my terms will be the ones I'll work for. So you have to adapt. Be resilient, be flexible, adapt to different situations. Finally, I'm so sorry I have to take this slow and steady. Let's go to the people with a job, in service, in business, anything else except practice and students. First thing first, there's a very important, I used to be in corporate in 2011-12 at that time. But after that, the world has changed. In the time, I think 15 years ago, maybe Manojji can give me a agreement on this, that 10-15 years ago, moving the same staff from department to department was not a culture. So if Nakul has joined in, let's say, FP&A department, he will stay in FP&A for his career. It's okay. That was not seen as a very difficult thing to accept. But today, movement is a culture which is very common. Yes, they try to lie to us and tell us that they're doing it for our improvement, but the corporate is only doing it so that they are not dependent on one person for one department, ever. Right? So do you agree with me? This is the case. The leaders do not want one department to be ruled by one person, so they move them and then they tell them we are doing it for your experience. We all know that. And then they say because CFOs are the ones who know all the work. Sir, CFOs were even back in 1993, in 2001, 2002. People worked for one department and they became CFOs. That was very common at that time, right? CFOs were earlier as well. This is not something new, not a new concept. So now let's talk about adaptability. Because the world is such, because the corporate world is doing something, there's one way of saying, making a face and saying, I will only work for one department. No, I'm not doing anything else. And whenever you are asked to move one department to other, you change jobs. You go to one organization to other. People say that I increased my salary by switching one job to another. They say this is a strategy. No, this is not a strategy. This is ruining your curriculum vitae. The strategy is waiting for the right job and having it at the start. You just waited for the job and did 2 or 3 jobs during that time. Right? You cannot increase salaries by switching jobs. The only thing that is happening is one person to another, this is being transferred. That's it. You're just going from one moment to another moment. Correct? Let's move on and understand the final, I'll just fix the final nail in this casket of the strategy of cultivating relationships. Nurturing meaningful relationships is a cornerstone for true success. You have to surround yourself with supportive and inspiring individuals who share your values. Remember this, who share your values. Now, let me just answer a few questions. Because the questions are only the ones which we have to make up in our head. The questions that come to mind at this point are, how will we identify who has what values? They're very simple. I'm not saying every value should match. If you have to work with this person, his relationship values do not have to match with yours. If his very important in this country, at least today, your religious values do not have to match with everybody around you. Because today the world is actually in a chaos, which the chaos ended with education, and I don't know how it came back to us. It's sad that we're turning back to that time, but it is true. Let's accept, because I said in the beginning, if we do not accept, we cannot change, we cannot move forward. Let's accept that the colonial drop of venom is back in the society. That there is some problem with having different religious values. You can practice any religion you want to and still be together, still work together. This is how we gained independence in this country, right? This is how we created so much. This is how we were the 67% GDP of the entire world. This is how we were, because we were together. We used to work in alignment. And especially because we have to give it credits that long distance and less invasive relationships are the best and long term. Meeting too much, spending too much time together, trying to align each other, invading the privacy of the other person, you'll never have good and long term relations. My personal life is none of your business until I start talking about it. Many people come out from an airplane and they know the family situation of the person right next to their seat. They know how many brothers and sisters they have. They know how many times they got married and divorced. Why? And they don't know what they do for a living. And then there are the other people who are successful. They know what they do for a living. They know how they have made sure that the other person knows that what I do for a living. They made sure their business cards are exchanged. Right? This is exactly less invasion of privacy, more focus towards public life. And let me just tell you, this is a fact. The best presenters, public speakers are mostly introverts. Why? Because they have been so much in the public life that they have topics to talk about. They're not very comfortable when somebody asks them questions about their personal life. They're not comfortable about talking about their own emotions because they talk about emotions as a subject. So this is exactly how you have to decide what questions to ask to which person. If you see that person as a very charming and a very aggressive person, possibly he or she will be offended by personal questions. And you cannot judge a book by its cover. Introverts and extroverts are two different people. I've always said the mantra for success comes from being an introvert, because speaking less and looking more in a professional setting, of course, I'm a speaker right now. If I don't speak enough, I think the entire session is going away for a toss. But if sitting inside a room, the person who speaks the least and still observes everything is the person at the key, because he is cultivating relationships. I'll tell you how. You don't speak a lot. It's okay. I went inside a room. I saw Manojji was there, Anuji was there, and Sambitji was there, because I'm seeing these three people on the screen. So I see, I am quiet. I'm just using myself as an example. Usually I'm not the quiet one, because I have a habit of, at least cracking one joke or two every now and then. I see that Manojji is a person who is only having tea and not taking any food. Okay, this is an observation. Moving on, I see that Anuj is a person who's meeting everybody, is very happy, very energetic. I saw Sambhaji, he is trying to manage everything, that everything goes well. Then I observed very well that Manojji, when it came time to perform, he performed well. And before the lunch was served, he went out and he started eating at around 12:30. Just an example. And Sambhaji is still so involved in management that he's not eating until 4:30. Because he's so involved in management. Anuji has forgotten when to eat because he is involved with other things. Now remember, because this person has been observing these things, he knows that you cannot make a relationship grow with Manojji by taking him out on a lunch or a dinner unless you are respecting his time values. Because maybe he's a person of values who eats at his time and does not eat out of time. So is it a good thing to do that, calling him at a dinner party? No, because you cannot be so time specific that he is. But a person like Sambhaji who does not eat in work pressure, and you suddenly just hold his hand and you say, let's eat something, 2 minutes, let's talk and eat. He'll be grateful and he'll make a better relation with that. And with Anuji, you have to know, say more in less words, and he'll appreciate you because he has a lot more to do than any of us. A lot more to connect. So this is exactly how you cultivate relationships, by observation, not by too much talking, not by making a lot of comments. I will just tell you, just go back and look at your phone book. Whom do you remember more fondly? The one who sends you good morning every day, or the one who sent you a message once and had a conversation with you at that day? This is more prominent. I remember I've gone to many branches giving deliberations. There, all of the branch chairpersons, they call us when we have reached home or not. And if we've left something, they'll courier it, or we just have a re-meeting or something. One of the chairpersons just dropped a text and said, have you reached home? I replied after 3 or 4 hours because I slept, because I came home at around 10:30 in the morning. So I slept off, and after 2 o'clock, I just texted him that yes, I was home at time. After a few days, I think it was Janmashtami, he called me and he said, how's it in our city? It is celebrated like this, that, and everything is okay. I might forget anything else, but I don't forget that person. And because on Janmashtami, after at least 2 weeks, he said, actually, I didn't call you because I thought, I don't know if you would have reached, you would have slept. That gesture was so important, was so touching, because every call that we receive after getting home is mostly when we are already dozed off. Because the only person who observes speakers knows that they don't sleep on the bed, they sleep in the car, they sleep in the flight, they sleep on the airports. Because that is the only way they can attain, they can get a few bits of sleep. So they never call you, because other people are calling him. Other people are calling us every time. But at least our hosts know that this is the person's personal time. Let it be. I'll arrange for the cab and everything, and I'll only drop texts. People do that, they only drop text. So if he will have to see the text, he will see it maybe in between the flight. Or when he comes down, he'll just open his phone and my text will be there. Do not disturb on this. This is a gesture which you respect for years, and this incident happened 4 years ago. I remember many gestures by many people, but this gesture of saying that I thought you would be sleeping by now, so I thought I'll just drop a text. I'm not saying that don't call us next time we are coming to your branch, but I'm saying observation gives you gestures. If you do not have observation, you do not think deeply. Deep thinking does not require time. Sir, it is a habit. Courtesy is also a habit. That many people say that, okay, that you do a lot of formalities. You go on stage, you talk about the chairperson, vice chairperson, then the secretary, then the tech support, and then the event enablers. Why do you take everybody's name and everything? This is boring. Everybody does it again and again. I say this is common courtesy. We don't do it out of free will. This naturally comes to us. Because every day is an opportunity. Just like we say hello to each other, we formally have to introduce each other. We formally have to give regards to everybody here. Trust me, by now, if it was a physical seminar that we were sitting in, I would have called at least 10 people from the audience, know their names, know what they do in between these 2 hours. Because that is cultivating relationships. That is making good relationships for life. I will just share the last example with you about this topic so we can move forward and we can, think about wrapping up today's session after that. That the last point that I want all of you to remember is they say in a very popular common day idiom that go on a trip with anybody you're confused about. You'll come back either in love with them or you'll hate them. Why do they say that? Because when you're on a trip together, you're theoretically with them for 24 hours in a day. I might be very pleasant in the morning, but in the evening, I might not be a pleasant person. Not pleasant as a person, but not pleasant for you. You come to my room, you see me in boxers, not having anything on top. I'm not a very pleasant thing to look at, but it's okay. That's my lifestyle. You don't have to be a part of that. But if you choose to, you have to accept the completeness. And I'm sorry, we've already accepted our partners, our wives and husbands in full. We don't need to accept everybody in full. Whatever parts you like, you do. And even on trips, people need to give each other space. ICI RRC is, I think I have many people who would have attended in the audience, and we all have. I think Manoj also have attended 1 or 2 RRCs. The good thing is that the function goes up until 10 or 11. And some people do sit downstairs who want to have a party or a gala time, but most of them are in their rooms and they can sleep after 9:30 when the food is done. This is the one thing which, I've seen chartered accountants have way closer relationships than other professionals. I'm sorry, many people won't accept this because I work a lot for professionals. Maybe most of us do too. Many clients are doctors, architects, and advocates. The kind of relationships chartered accountants have with each other, and this has improved in the last 20 years. I'm sorry, 20 years ago, I used to see people criticizing each other. But today, the recent qualified CAs, you tell them I used to have my work done by this person. Youngsters have a habit, oh, that's a very talented person. Why did you leave that person? Why? Because they know if I criticize that person, he will make me compromise on my fees as well. So people say that, okay, if you're leaving a CA and coming to a CA, you're of no use to me. And youngsters understand it so well. And I'm really proud of everybody that I get this feedback, not just from my city. I get this from all over the country. Clients are coming left and right and center. So we all know about each other. And many people have a habit. Oh, you came from Manojji. My God, such a talented person. What happened? Sir, he cannot give us time. My second answer would be time. Sir, time to any CA can give you a little bit. We have to serve multiple businesses. But okay, if you want to come from him, let me talk to him. And people before onboarding clients or even making any verbal commitments, they talk to each other. And this person has come to me. What is this? What is the deal with this person? Have you received all your money? And is he a good payer or not? And I have had an experience that even when I work outside my city, they still tell me the right thing. They said, do anything, take the money in advance. He's not a good payer after all. So this is the relationship which we have had, and I hand-folded request to all the community, stay together like this. And this is the reason. In ICI, lately, because the seminars seminars are done well, branches are very active, the speakers are doing pretty well, all the ones on board. The culture is they don't interfere in personal lives. The sessions go well. Then in the evening, they all go home. Very less crowdiness, very less events of ICI go up till 2 or 3 a.m. This is not a culture in this profession, and that's good. And this is how relationships are being cultivated here. So this brings me to the conclusion of today's entire discussion. Please remember, having notes is a good thing to do. But if you have sit here for the last maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hours, we've been talking. Don't do anything, just do the exercises that I've told you. Sit with yourself, think of your satisfaction. Okay. First thing first, remember success is temporary. Successful is an achievement which is once and for all. So you have to have the feeling of being successful, not just attaining a success mark. That's not our target. Then, of course, turning points. How the turning points came. We talked about Oprah Winfrey. We talked about Elon Musk. We talked about Musk today. So we have to remember, we learn from their lives that how to give more than what already you see. Meaning, to give meaning to your life, you have to look at your satisfaction. I'm again repeating, social work is talked about because most of the people who are speaking, they have attained those basic necessities of life. Because that is why after doing that, they have started giving back to the society. Speaking is one of the ways of giving back to the society. So when we think about our lives 5 years ago, I make sure I tell you that firstly, think about your family, your life, your personal goals. Firstly, they are achieved, nothing matters. It's all good. Moving on, remember about your personal fulfillment and happiness. It is non-compromisable. Professional growth and the impact of that growth. What line you are growing in. Do not forget in growing, but the impact of that growth is important. Because growth will be there. What direction do you want to grow in? Right? Balance, have balance between personal and professional life. You work for 1 million people, and right beside your deathbed will be your family and your kids, or maybe whosoever relations you make. So have a culture of personal life, personal growth. Of course, we talked about how to transition from success to being successful. We talked about how will you set your new goals. I think most of us will be clear now. All the people who are listening till here, please set your new goals, redefine the matrix of success. Your success, and I'm not saying leave the previous matrix. You have to have the social matrix, but still redefine the matrix and set new goals. Develop your growth mindset. And Manoj, you tell me, what activity did I tell for developing the growth mindset?
Actually, the adaptability, we have to more adaptable. And
The activity is learn from your junior. Learn.
yes, learn from my juniors and the kids.
Yeah, just tell them.
That is a very good suggestion. Like
Yeah.
I like that because I used to did earlier my first article, and I don't know how to file TDS return. No, also. Then
That's true.
Only a procedural thing. Then I asked her, could you please explain what are the possible errors that we are going to face when we will try to file a TDS return? Because I got a notice. So she explained me very well about that. So I learned. So that was a good experience. The recently that was happening. Because these people, these articles were not in my office. They went for study leave. That time I was forced to file that return because then that time I learned from that. So that was good. In order to more flexibility, we have to be more flexible. That means adaptability and flexibility, and without having any ego. Please set ego in our mind. Like
True.
Learn from juniors. You have to avoid your egos. that is the main part, I think.
Absolutely. That's how you will develop a growth mindset. Then, of course, we talked about importance of resilience and adaptability, how to be adaptable, and then cultivating meaningful relationships. As professional, as good. Now we'll just watch a small video on the simple topic that we discussed so far, that we will be talking about. We'll just see a video on growth mindset. This is a YouTube video. You all can find it easily. And I love this way of presentation. Manoj, you give me a thumbs up if you can hear the sound and the things are going well.
No sound is coming.
Okay, if the sound is not there, I'll just say, I'll tell the audience that you can just look at the screen and you will get there are subtitles there. You can read the subtitles, right?
But no sound is coming now.
Okay, sound is not there. Let me see what can be done about the sound. Just a moment. I think there is a way of sharing this as well.
You can see the video, but now sound is coming.
No, I think I know how to do that. Just a moment.
Naruji, can I have your mobile number, please?
My mobile number, sir, I'll share my mobile number with you. Just give me one way. I'll do it in the chat.
Sure, sir.
My mobile number, although is very easily available on Google, but still I don't know how many people are there in the webinar. If there's too many people, I always choose to.
No, because the thing is that, see, Naguji, the issue is that, see, because of this busy timing, 8-hour timing, I requested all my MC members to join, but unfortunately, they all are busy with their.
I know this is one way of this is a very busy time. We have to respect everybody's professional journey. You got my number, sir? I give you.
Yes, I got it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So this is one way. I know that this is a very easy thing to give out your number, but then there is a limit of calls that you can attend.
Yeah, definitely.
And the person who wants to talk to me and has some agenda will easily go on Google and take my number and then call me up. Instead, I think it's better to now I'll be sharing my email address to the audience. They can always drop me a small email, or you can easily find me on LinkedIn and my number is easily available. So the thing is that here's my email address too. Now I just want to ask the tech support, is there any questions that we have? Because I don't see any on the chat.
So we have only limited numbers of participants. That's why I think.
Okay. So
actually, one question from my side.
There's a question here. There's one question. So I said, let me just answer the question first. What is the difference between success and successful? I think, wow, it's like the entire Ramayana is over there asking who was Ram. Success and successful is very simply differentiated by the social parameters is success. And when it is feeling in yourself, it is successful. Yes, so you had a question, Manoj.
Yes. What I'm asking in some part of our professional life, what is my personal experience when we are spending more time with the lesser financial benefit. So, but to some part, it is to some extent it is a social responsibility. Say, for example, to be frankly, what I'm telling is, for example, a network certificate for a student who is from a very poor family. So in that case, without even taking any fees from that student, I used to give the certificate to that student. In that sense, I'm getting some inner happiness in my mind. But it won't help you financially. Like in financial perspective, you are not getting any fees on that. So in that perspective, how can you balance between these your moral values and financial benefits?
Sure. Manoj, actually one only issue with not charging fees from any client or net worth certificate is that it is a violation of professional ethics. I'm sorry, I'm a professor of ethics, so I cannot abstain myself from telling you that ethically we have to charge fees of all the assignment. But then let me tell you how to balance that out, sir. We have to choose our battles. So what I do personally, I'll tell you, I sit on the free GST clinics by local NGOs. They do a free GST clinic, which is only for one purpose, that many GST numbers are registered and the registrations are being done because of somebody from the neighbors started learning GST. They gave them a number and they were charging 100 rupees per month, and then they were filing for them something or the other.
Okay.
So because people are in trouble, so I go to the clinic. I used to give 7 hours in a month earlier, 7 to 8 hours in a month. But now I don't give more than an hour in 2 months or 3 months, whenever I have time. So of course we have to balance out. When my business will be totally booming, when I'll have partners to work, I'll choose to, go to the clinic more often, the free clinic more often. Not this time. It is just a matter of time.
Yes.
I'll just say what the flight attendants say when the flight is beginning, that before helping others, please put your mask on. First, help yourself and then help others, because that's the only thing. It's not about satisfaction. It's about how to.
Yes. I want at some point we are losing that, like our time, our efficient and fruitful time. we used to lose some point. So that is one important factor. But anyway, we will need to try to adjust and balance this our inner peace and financial.
Yeah, and that's one thing, which is one good thing is that healthy mind resides in a healthy body. So yeah, you should always focus on two things. Do something for your like when I qualified, my dad said three things: do something for your body, something for your family, and the
Yeah.
last, do something for the society.
So actually,
Yes.
something for your body means something for your
Maybe.
body means the exercise or food. What do you mean actually? Food or exercise?
Eat healthy, and do exercise.
Okay, fine.
So he says that everything else the society
Yeah.
will make you do.
That's correct.
Three things you have to do on your own judgment. First, do something for your body, something for your family, more
Yes.
than what the society makes you do, and
Yes.
something for the society, more than the society, what society makes you do. These four things have to get done.
After all, your personal thing, that means your family, your body, and after all, you can do something for society. Isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Firstly, do something for your body. Either like for me, I cannot do a lot of exercise, and I used to be a regular to the gym earlier, but now I am not. I've not worked out any.
Yes.
I don't do any relevant exercise for the last 4 or 5 years. Because the pressure of practice and everything has come along.
Yeah.
But I've taken a judgment call from the last 6 months, or maybe no, 1.5 years now. 6 months was last year this time. So 1.5 years that I balance what I eat. I categorize my food in between, okay, this much of protein I have to have, this much of fiber, and this much of carbs. That's it. So I don't have a plate. My plates are not any longer, it's not like a normal North Indian plate. It's more of a European, Mexican, continental plate. That means protein is
that
in
is good.
between. Because why? Because I'll tell you, it's not something to say European food is better or Indian food is better. No. The thing is, the Indian food has been designed for the hard-working class. The class which works on their body more than their mind.
Yes.
And they need a lot of carbs to burn down.
Yes.
But then, the lifestyle we are living, no matter how hardworking we are, our work is hard, but we're on a seat.
Yes.
I've been talking for the last 2 hours. It's not easy job, but
understood.
A seat. It is being done from a seat. And that is why I do not need carbs, but I need protein and vitamins to, power my brain and that I can continue. So that's one thing. I've got a question in the chat box, which is how a young CA in practice should be successful to come up and achieve his goals. Okay, I'll frame this question in my way. So how can a young CA in practice frame their goals and be successful? Sir, first and foremost, you have to decide what is your aim from practicing as a chartered accountant. Is your aim to make a difference in a line of service? So, firstly, let's say I believe that accounting report, I'm not saying this is what I feel, I'm just saying an example. Somebody feels that the reporting of the financial reporting needs a lot of refining in this country or in this business. So why should I not think about working clearly towards that area, teaching that area, working hard on that area? Secondly, we have to focus on, if you don't have the area of expertise you want to choose, you have to choose if you want to make a difference to the way firms practice in your country. That was my motivation. I wanted to play my role in the way practice is run in this country. And yes, finally, you have to think about what gives you satisfaction, and if you are good at your service, firstly, make sure you're good at your service before coming into practice, and second, don't do your practice for free. Never serve anybody for free or for a substandard amount. Leave them. If you want to be successful in practice, never compromise on one thing, and one thing, that is your professional fees. If you're doing it, you might be successful, but that's not my way of teaching to be successful. Don't compromise on the payment portion and you'll be golden, because that is one way of increasing the number of clients, increasing the work, and losing all the time you have to spend on research and updates. When will you read? When will you update yourself? Because all the time you're serving substandard clients. So to update and be very, on point of your reading, I think this is one way. So somebody has asked a question, fallacy. Is it that our course lacks philosophical? I'm sorry, it's a very bold thing to say, but how would I justify my course's authenticity? Let's just see. Okay, we'll give our best shot. Don't worry. So they say fallacy. Sorry, this question is very bold, and I have to think about it for 2 seconds before I answer it. Because I don't want to, begin a new controversy from today. So first thing is clear that no, it should not lead to a new controversy. And I think I've lost the chat box as well somewhere. Here it is. So they say fallacy is a false belief. Is it that our course lags philosophical training? Sir, philosophy is not something you should always learn in every course. It's a professional course, and we don't run on philosophies. We are the ones who present and talk about hard facts. Philosophical training can be given. Doctors don't undergo philosophical training. Architects don't undergo philosophical training. Engineers don't undergo philosophical training. Yeah, most of the scientists don't undergo a lot of philosophy. Sir, the persons who are making a difference, they cannot spend their time on philosophies. And I'm not saying philosophers are not making a difference, they are, but our zone is very different from theirs. We can read philosophy for our own satisfaction, but as a course, and again, this is a personal opinion, you become a leader in chartered accountancy and make a change to it. But this is an opinion that philosophy is, as an essence of accountancy profession, philosophy is nowhere at there. Professionals is there, business is there, and even the attitude of business is not our concern. Our concern is hard facts of business. The going concern concept is the only philosophy that we work on. If that is not on point, we don't care what else is happening. Now, the next question is, what are the metrics by which we can identify whether someone is successful? The entire session is going for a toss now. We are not here to talk about identifying others' success. We are saying you also don't care about what others think about your success. The entire session was about others will not determine your success. You yourself will see what makes you feel successful. We are more concerned about what's happening with others. Please forget that. Think about yourself. Honestly, why are people more concerned about how others are doing? That's their life. Even your kids at a point. Don't be obsessed with them. Many people make very successful kids. But when they ask them, what were you doing when you were 35, 40? I was just making sure my kid is successful. Sir, your own career was at the prime time. I'm not saying don't work for your kids, don't inspire them. But the best inspiration for a child is their parent doing better, is their parent doing well. Now, just don't bring me 2 or 3 examples. I was telling this example a few days ago in one of the physical webinars, and somebody said, why is Sachin's son not as successful as Sachin Tendulkar? I said, just a moment. Many people play cricket at what level he is doing pretty well. Now, everybody cannot be as gifted as the God himself. And the biggest problem of coming from a successful father is that you'll always be compared to your parent all the time. What is the importance of learning from failure to be successful? Okay. Let me just ask you in a different way. I'll rephrase this question and ask the person who has asked this question. Importance of learning from failure to be successful. So attaining success is different. Look, I'll tell you, I cleared my chartered accountancy finals in the 4th or 5th attempt, I think. 4th or 5th. Right? If I had given up on attempt number 4, and let's assume I cleared in the 5th attempt, I gave up on attempt number 4 and did something else and became successful, one thing would have always pinched me. Now, this is not something social, this is personal. I would have always felt as a failure of a certain ground. Because failure happens when you give up. To not give up, the only way is keep on going and be resilient and learn from your failures, and then do the same thing that you were told you cannot be. When this was done recently, ICI did a very nice step by making successful and unsuccessful instead of pass or fail. This year's mark sheets do not have pass or fail, sir. They say unsuccessful or successful. It's a step in motivating the students. I just told one of my very dear CCMs, very nice person, very professional. I said, had ICI not written fail, fail, fail again and again, I would not have been that resilient. I said, I have to change this fail to pass one day. And I used to get very angry and pumped up when I saw fail on my mark sheet. If it was unsuccessful, I think I would have lost a lot of the zeal that I had. Moving on, last question. I will just take this question. I think it's a good time to move towards the final vote of thanks. How to choose path, where to go, as after becoming a CA and working job, I became directionless. What to do next? Not clear about the future. Please suggest some course of action. My dear, you became a CA and you've done a job and you're directionless. I told you. You're asking me to suggest you a course of action. Think about it. What did I say? Sit with yourself and think what gives you satisfaction. You have a job, you've become a CA and you're doing a job, whosoever you are. And you think you are directionless. First, remember, don't go ahead and put your papers down today or in the next few days. First, think how much this job provides for your family, how much you need this money. And if that is being provided, after that, find something which gives you satisfaction and do it for a few days. I'm not saying go and travel. If you have a family, spend some time with them. They might give you a better direction. They might help you in, learning your importance and getting a direction for yourself. And not being clear about the future means that you're just human. None of us knows what is in the future. In our television, there was a very important show, and it's a mythological epic, Mahabharata. And Krishna says, what lies in the womb of the future is only known to the future. You go and do your work. That's the only attainment you can do, Parth. You cannot do anything else except doing your work. So it's okay not knowing in the future. Nobody knows that. And even God was okay working. He knew everything. He was okay working hard on this planet. So it's fine. Not knowing what is in the future, please, it's okay. Don't be clear about the future. What you want to do in future, what you want to do now or in future, you have to be clear about that. And the best thing is, sit with yourself at least. Okay, let me give you a good exercise for 1 week. Every day, spend half an hour with you. Half an hour, no TV, no mobile. Try that these technologies are not even inside the room that you're sitting. Or you may be in a garden or somewhere, whatever you like, where nobody disturbs you. Just stay with yourself for half an hour and don't think about anything. Just leave the world. Leave the thought that I'm here to think something. Leave it. Let the thoughts find you and you will be able to get your path. I think it's a good time that we can conclude the session. I hand the session back over to the chairperson of Alappuzha branch, CA Manoj Narayanappaiji. I hand you over for the final remarks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It was a wonderful session, sir. Actually, personally, it was an eye-opener to me. And it has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful webcast, from successful to successful, organized by the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, IC. On behalf of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, IC, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our speaker, CA Nabil Arora, for his enlightening session. And CA Dr. Anuj Goyal, Chairman of Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, IC, and CSP Priya Kumar. She was not in the meeting, but anyway, Vice Chairperson of Professional Skills Management Committee AC for their actual guidance. Sincere thanks to the event enablers from the Alabama branch of CSP IC who enabled the webcast throughout. Thank you to Sandhu Kumar Mishra as well. And Sri Nagul Arora and other stakeholders made webcast a memorable one. Finally, I would like to thank all of you present here and helping us make this webcast a grand success. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.